I watched this on the internet. From the whole George Floyd situation to us coming together like we doing something. And this whole thing landed on my doorstep.
Happened again?
Another unarmed black man killed by police?
Let's talk about it, y'all. Middle America. Well, there I was on Twitter, and there's the big homie Tariq Nasheed, who's kind of a voice of civil rights and all that jazz. And Tariq Nasheed posts this: race soldiers in Atlanta try to choke a black man to death before they shot him dead. Hashtag anti-black war. Of course, this is in this day and age, in the current situation that we're in, obviously you see this as a black man and it gets extremely frustrating. This was the person who was speaking at the beginning of the video. His name is Red, basically, and that's the individual who was killed. That was his cousin. The person that was killed.
The cousin was videoing?
No. The person that we just played at the beginning of the video was the cousin of the slain individual. And so, let me get the guy's name. The name of the person who was killed was Rayshard Brooks, 27 years old. And so, between Tariq Nasheed and a couple other people, we're hearing about, and again, another unarmed black man. Now, Tariq doesn't say he's unarmed. They just said race soldiers in Atlanta tried to choke a black man to death before they shot him. I've had a lot of folks on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter say, hey, here's another unarmed situation. So it's front page right now on CNN. And the situation is so bad that the chief of police had to step down. They immediately terminated the officer.
Oh, she had to. I thought that she chose to.
Well, it's one of those things where it's like, we're either going to fire you or you're going to step down. Okay. So, I mean, that's long story short. CNN, it's currently front page. And so I began to read it. The incident began with a call to police at 10:33 p.m. about a man sleeping in a parked vehicle in the restaurant's drive-through lane. So the guy is sleeping in the drive-through lane. Causing customers to drive around it, the GBI statement said. The GBI is the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, basically. Police gave Brooks a field sobriety test, which he failed, the GBI said. He resisted arrest and struggled with the officers. GBI Director Vic Reynolds said Saturday that his department obtained surveillance video of the incident from Wendy's and reviewed what witnesses had posted on social media. The video from the eyewitnesses began in the middle of the struggle between Brooks and two police officers in the video, and officers heard telling Brooks, stop fighting and hands off the taser. The eyewitnesses told CNN that by the time they arrived on the scene, Brooks' car was parked in a parking spot. The fight started when they tried to make an arrest. After that, he took a taser and took off, the witnesses said. As the scuffle broke up, the video shows Brooks beginning to run from the officers, and he is seen holding what appears to be a stun gun in his right hand. It appears one of the officers fires 3 times as he runs away. Witnesses told GBI investigators that Brooks had one of the officers' stun guns. Shortly after Brooks and one of the officers run by the car of the eyewitnesses taking the video, a second officer runs by. Following Brooks, 3 shots are heard out of the frame, and then Mr. Brooks passes away in the hospital. And of course now there's marches and things like that. So I did a cursory search of this situation and I found a couple videos. So what we're about to see is video of the actual scuffle, and then there's also Wendy's surveillance video of whatever. So here we go.
We have video that's been circulating on social media that shows part of that. And we just want you to watch here as the events unfold on video there. Someone is in a car nearby videotaping the entire thing. And you see Mr. Brooks, the 27-year-old, struggling with police officers. And this is when...
Boy, he's pretty good for someone who's intoxicated.
He started running with one of the officers' tasers. He runs out of frame, and according to the GBI, you just heard from the director there saying that Mr. Brooks at some point ran between 5 to 7 parking spaces and appears to have turned around and pointed that taser at one of the officers, and that's when the officer fired his gun, killed.
Okay, so, and now here is the Wendy's surveillance video that shows what happened when the scuffle went off camera. Because the video that we saw was the
person was outside in the car.
The cell phone, right? So
it looks like that's when the discharge goes, the weapon goes off then.
So here's the actual video.
So there are blue lights on the left side of the screen. You will see a man.
Oh my gosh, these people are going through the drive-thru.
Police officers chasing him. It appears that the fleeing man
He turned around and shot.
You even see a small flash that may or may not be the taser firing, and then it ends very quickly
So there it is.
with the man mortally wounded from a police gunshot. This video or portions of it are available also on 11.
Wow.
Okay, so that's the full story. The full story is this man, number one, was driving intoxicated in a black neighborhood, by the way. Mm-hmm. He failed he failed the drug test, the sobriety test. Mm-hmm. And so because of that, they arrested him. I mean, the guy basically passed out in the drive-thru and people had to drive around him. And so that's why the cops got called. And then they did the field sobriety test, and he failed. Which means brother was driving drunk, endangering the lives of other black people. And I'm particularly sensitive to this because I got a call Christmas morning in 2006 that Matt Jones, along with my friends Mike Kenoyer, Jake Roy, and Robert Bruce, all of them perished in a car accident in 2006 at Christmas Eve. Mike Kenoyer's dad had to identify him on Christmas Eve, okay? And Matt's brother, his twin brother, got to the hospital quick enough to basically get a squeeze from his brother before he went off and expired into eternity. And there were two other people that died, and as well as a dog. 6 people perished on Christmas Eve because of a drunk driver. So don't tell me Black Lives Matter, and then you've got a guy driving inebriated, and so, I don't know if he was drunk or high, whatever. Then he gets they try to arrest him, and he's scuffling on the ground with them. Mm-hmm. You saw the video. Both of these officers had their tasers out.
Honestly, the moment that someone that's being arrested reaches for the weapon or anything of the cops, it should be done.
You're done. Now, I as I say all the time, I've got family in law enforcement.
Yeah.
And I've been shooting videos every other day in another forum talking about this stuff. And so I posted the video, and he said, "Oh, no contest." No contest. And he said, what? So the officer who killed the dude is terminated, and the chief of police of Atlanta has to step down. Hey! I showed Johan this. Mm-hmm. I said, Johan, what do you think of this? And
Johan's 11.
He said, I think that guy was taking advantage of the argument for himself. In other words, the brother knew about the cultural zeitgeist. He knew what was going on, and it is obvious that these two cops, knowing full well that there are white cops in a black area in Atlanta, mm-hmm. and not wanting to end up on the news, they tackled this brother, and they're wrestling with him with their tasers, and the cop is saying, "Stop fighting us, don't touch the taser."
Yep.
And he did it anyway. And he was scuffling with these dudes on the ground, and it's obvious that these cops didn't want to kill him because they didn't have their service pistols drawn, which is what you're supposed to do, by the way. You're not supposed to draw your taser when you're in an actual scuffle and a guy is drawing for your weapon. You use your taser when the guy is at a certain distance away, and then you can use that as a non-lethal option. But when you're actually face-to-face with a guy and he's wrestling with you and he's wrestling two cops, you're not supposed to pull your taser. But they pulled their taser instead of their service pistols because it is obvious they did not want to kill this guy. Now, whether they didn't want to kill him for their own sake because they don't want to end up on the news in the current situation where they're in, or they just don't want to kill people, I don't care. It's not material to the situation. But Tariq Nasheed is lying. When he says that these dudes try to choke him and kill him. I mean, look at what Tariq Nasheed says in this text. Race soldiers in Atlanta try to choke a black man to death before they shot him dead. That is not what happened, and you are now putting the life of these two men in danger. That is not what happened, Tariq Nasheed. They did not try to choke him. They tried to arrest him to protect the other black folks in the area.
Right.
And then he resisted arrest. And then he grabbed at their weapons because he knew that they were not trying to shoot him. That's what happened. You're lying. And you know, I was talking to another brother about this because he said, cops kill unarmed black man, da-da-da. I said, you need to change that right now. That's not what happened. So he changes that, but then he leaves out the fact that this dude overpowered two of them, punched the guy in the face, took the other guy's taser, and then turned around and shot.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until then that the cop finally fired at him. I said, you left all that out.
Yeah.
He said, well...
You know, we have to have some honesty in all these discussions so that way the serious situations can be taken seriously.
Right.
But if stuff is being lied about, then it changes it. So then, you know, the George Floyd situations don't get looked at with the same seriousness. People are going to say, "Oh, that's what happened over there,"
Right.
even though it's not. That's
Right.
not the same thing.
Right. And now, Red, the guy who you saw at the beginning of the video, he invoked George Floyd. He said, "We've been watching this for years." Now, my brother, I am sure you are in a lot of pain at the death of your cousin. But my brother, that is not what we have been watching for years. As a matter of fact, what we've just seen is what I have been begging to happen for years. Namely, the police showing restraint. What happened to your cousin is what I want the police to do, which is to show some restraint and not be so trigger happy. And that's what these cops did. Don't you... Look, man, I'm sorry that your cousin is dead, but don't you ever in your life try to compare that to Tamir Rice, to Amadou Diallo, to George Floyd. This is not the cops kneeling on a defenseless man with his hands tied behind the back, begging to breathe for 8 minutes and 40 seconds, 2 minutes and 35 of which he was unconscious. That's not what happened. What happened was your cousin was inebriated. He didn't want to go to jail. He probably had other priors. And then he wrestled these cops to the ground, punched one of them in the face, grabbed one of their weapons, and even then they didn't shoot his ass. And then when he was running, the cop you see in the video, the cop tried to shoot him with the taser, and it looked like it contacted, it had no effect on him because he's probably drunk and high out of his mind. And then he turned around and shot at the cop. Now let me ask you a question, dear listener. What happens if that taser hits that cop in the neck and that cop goes down? Now he's vulnerable and his weapon is there and now he doesn't go home to his family?
I mean, if you
No,
look,
sir.
the drive-thru is full of people.
Correct. No, sir. Now look, I'm not going to say brother deserved to die, but there's something in the scripture about dying as a fool. There's a guy in the Bible, I think his name was Abner, and he died as a fool, and David mourned over him and basically said, why should you die as a fool? This brother died as a fool. And this is not good for the movement. Because the minute, see, here's the thing. The Candace Owens video, Candace Owens didn't come out and say it, but she basically said George Floyd deserved what he got. And now what you've just done, cousin of this guy, is you've put him in the same category as George Floyd. Well, what that means is, if this dude is in the same category of George Floyd, then what the cop did was, then what Chauvin did to George Floyd was justified then. Because these officers are obviously unjustified in putting this guy down. We've got to be truthful and honest. And it's the same thing I've said about these cops. You know, when they lied about pushing that 75-year-old, they said he tripped and fell. And a couple videos ago, I said, why the hell would you do that when everybody on their mother has a camera and we can look and know that you're telling a damn lie? Why the hell would Tariq Nasheed say that when all of us had videos and we can see that it's a damn lie? They did not try to choke this brother to death. They tried to arrest him and get him off the street to protect all the black folk in the neighborhood. Tariq, that's what they were trying to do. But your lying self, they tried to choke him to death. No, they didn't try to choke him. They tried to apprehend him.
As a matter of fact, when I'm watching this video, I kept thinking, if you look at it, when the cop see when they're wrestling over here like this? If I was this cop, I would have tried to put right here. I would have had my arm around his neck.
And here's the other thing.
Because they're wrestling over the taser. Like, by that point, I would have got him in a headlock. He should have had it.
Look, babe, look, right there. The officer has the taser.
Yeah.
I'm gonna screenshot this. The officer has the taser.
His gun's probably right there.
Oh yeah, the weapon's right there. He has the taser right there. All he has to do is to press that trigger and tase that dude, but he didn't want to do it. Because if you tase people too close, things could get really, really hairy. These officers displayed ridiculous restraint. And we know why they displayed all that restraint. 2 months ago, maybe they would have shot him. I don't care, either way. But they showed the restraint that we've all been asking for. Tamir Rice, they shot brother in 2 seconds. A little kid, they shot him. Amadou Diallo, they shot at him 41 times, hit him 17 times, completely unarmed. George Floyd never resisted arrest. Guys, that is not this. This is something different. This is a guy who was a danger to everybody in the freaking community. And if he would have went and had a head-on accident, statistics would tell you it would be another black person that'd be injured.
Yep.
What if that was your black daughter? What if that was my black daughter? Do Black Lives Matter in that particular situation? Now you're going to try to use this to co-opt the movement? This is wrong. This is wrong. And now we're in such a silly environment that we cannot cut straight. We can't tell the difference between the Gestapo stormtroopers who are slamming people on the ground, smashing girls' head against the ground, smashing septuagenarian heads on the ground, cracking skulls. We can't tell the difference between that and this. And now the police chief has to resign? Are you out of your mind? Are you out of your Evan-loving mind? The chief has to resign. My brother's like they did what? They said this is open and shut, no contest. No contest.
I literally don't see how there's another side to look at it besides what we're saying right now.
We saw both videos. There was a scuffle. There was a fight, and then the dude turned around, and you can clearly see him depressing that right there.
Yeah.
He turned and shot at them, and it's at that point that the cop decided that he was going to shoot him. Now, there's multiple reasons they were going to shoot him. One is he attacked him with a deadly weapon. Two is if you see the gap between him and the officer, that guy was going to get away, and God knows what he's going to do now with the taser. There's a lot of things that could have went wrong there. What if this guy goes off and then he carjacks somebody and kills somebody? Then what? Let me tell you something. Black man, you want to survive in America? I told Johan. Johan was right next to me. I said, my brother, I said, if you are drunk behind the wheel and a cop comes to arrest you, you better give them your hands and let them arrest you. Dad will come bail you out, and then we'll send you to rehab. But I said, Johan, if you do this dumb shit, I will bury you, and you will die as a fool. And you will deserve it. Yeah, I said it. Because this right here is not right. This is not right, guys. He was wrong. He shouldn't have done that. Shouldn't have fought those cops. And those cops exercised ridiculous restraint. And that's all we've been asking for. We're not asking for the cops to let criminals run rampant all over the place. That is not what we're asking for. We're not asking cops to let criminals have deadly weapons. People have died from being tased, by the way. We're not asking cops to let criminals do that. What we're asking for is show some restraint. This brother is, though. He's crying, and look, that's okay. You just lost your cousin. I get it. I'm not mad at brother, but don't try to put him in the same category as George Floyd. We have not been seeing police do this. We have not been seeing police offer this type of restraint to black men. We haven't been seeing it. This is not something we've seen over the years. What we've seen is shoot first, ask questions later. See you later, Tamir Rice, you're in the ground. See you later, Philando Castile, you're in the ground. See you later, Amadou Diallo, you're in the ground.
Set up a PayPal.
Philando Castile was cooperative, and he's saying, I'm going to show you the papers, I'm good, don't worry about it. And the cops shot him anyway because he was so full of fear of black people. Mr. Kinsey was on the ground with his hands in the air, and the cops still shot him over there in North Miami Beach. That is not what happened here. Your cousin put his life in danger, and he put everybody's life in that vicinity in danger, and he put those 2 cops' lives in danger. And yes, the cop has the right to go home to his family.
Honestly, the fact that he was driving inebriated like that, and he went to Wendy's, means he's very, because a lot of times when people are not used to doing that, they're trying to get from point A to point B as quickly as they can without drawing a bunch of attention to himself.
You're 100%
but
right.
He's obviously very comfortable being in that situation because he went to go to Wendy's.
And he was so jacked up that he passed out
in the
drive-through line.
Yeah. He got a lot accomplished with his...
And then somebody called the cops, and it's a black area, which means somebody black probably called the cops on it. So, I don't want to hear it. This is a horrible example of people co-opting the movement and then destroying the movement. Mm-hmm. Because now all the crazy, racist, evil Candace Owens loving bastards can go, oh, that's right, you just put him in line with George Floyd. Okay, we agree. They're going to agree with you and say this is just like the George Floyd case, when it's not. Both sides are wrong. The racist white folks saying that this is like the George Floyd case, they're wrong. And silly black people who can't think, are just completely emotional, are also wrong. Tariq Nasheed, you're a damn liar. 2 things. Either you lied, Tariq, or you're so ignorant you didn't watch the video and verify what you posted. Either way, you're lying or you're ignorant. Either way, those are very, very hurtful for the movement. This is a disaster. This is a disaster. Black Lives Matter and all these people, they should have come out and said, we do not agree with what brother did over there in Atlanta. And while we never want to see a black man shot and killed by the police, we instruct you when you're drunk or high and the police tell you you're under arrest, please submit to the arrest. Do not fight the officer. Do not grab their weapons. And do not run away with their weapons, and do not point your weapon at the police. Black Lives Matter, and they will kill your black life if you do such a thing. That's what BLM should do. Now, I don't know what they're going to do. But I hope to God they don't send any of their surrogates down there and march and all this thing and try to turn this man into Dr. King or whatever. Unbelievable. Come on, y'all. Another black man. Look, I'm just going to read this one last time. Read it. Race soldiers
in Atlanta try to choke a black man to death before they shot him dead.
And now you're putting these people's lives in danger. Because I don't think these cops, when Chauvin killed all those people, they killed that guy. They had 100 cops lined up at his house to protect him. They need to send a security detail over there because tweets like these will get people killed.
Yeah.
And I told brother, there's another brother who posted this on Facebook. I said, you're not communicating accurately what happened. He said, I'm not a journalist. Yes, you are. Dummy. If you're putting something out there for public consumption and you're reporting on the news, you're a journalist. Do it accurately. You could get these men killed. And yeah, it's important not to get people killed who don't need killing. Now, I'm not going to shed a tear if somebody went and got Chauvin, but this is not right. We can get these people killed, man. That's why we have courts. You don't put something out there like that. And where's Twitter with the fake news stuff?
Yeah.
Huh? Trump says something crazy, you're going to go and fact check it. Why don't you fact check Tariq Nasheed? Because this is a damn lie, and he is a blue check person. Where are you, Twitter? Man, if you're a praying person, you got to pray for this country. It's almost impossible. In the time period when it should be clear as to what the truth is, because everybody has video now, it's becoming harder and harder and harder to know the truth. You watch the video yourself. I've been in Black Lives Matter rallies. I've spoken in Black Lives Matter rallies. I've been published in the newspaper and the news and interviewed for Black Lives Matter rallies. I am down for the cause. This is not our cause. And if this is your cause, I'm out. We're not on the same team. Love your neighbor.
Take care of each other.
Middle America.
We are the media.
We are the media. Everything you put out there goes into the ether and comes down as the cultural zeitgeist. We're now part of creating culture. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter how many people follow you, and it doesn't matter how many people view your video. We are the media.